How's it going? I wanted to show you my Burnside carbine, and in this video we're going to show you what it takes to load and fire this particular weapon. This particular weapon was made in 1864 by the Burnside Rifle Company in Providence, Rhode Island. And this particular weapon was used in the Civil War by the 6th Indiana Cavalry. And the reason I know that is I did a search on the serial number, and the serial number came back with a range match of a weapon that had a serial number just in front of it and just after it. And this particular weapon fit right in between the two. So I don't know exactly who it was issued to, but I do know that it was issued to the 6th Indiana Cavalry in Indianapolis, Indiana, in 1864. It's probably either Company F or L. I came by this gun from a good friend who gave it to me, but it wasn't in this condition. It was nothing but solid rust from front to rear, and there was no wood on it, and most of the parts were missing. It was basically just the barrel and the breech. Lock parts were all missing. A ton of the parts were missing off of this gun. Take a closer look at it. The Burnside carbine is unique in that it's one of the very first cartridge guns ever made in America. Or ever made, I should say. And I'll show you why. Before this weapon was made, just about all guns were muzzle loaders. They hadn't invented the cartridge. This is actually the cartridge right here. Looks like an ice cream cone. The top of it on this part here has a gas seal that seals inside the barrel. This weapon is black powder. It uses only double F black powder, and it's fired with a percussion cap. Like I said, one of the hardest things for me to find on this weapon was the lock parts. This is the lock right here. You kind of take what you can get. Some of these parts were reproductions, and I've been searching for years and years for the originals. This gun is over 130 years old, so it's not so easy to find parts to it. The trigger on this one is all original. However, the hammer itself is not. That's reproduction, so I'm looking for an original replacement for that. I'll find it someday. This was a cavalry weapon, since the 6th Indiana was a cavalry unit. It's set up with the sling. The ring and sidebar here was for hanging this from the side of your weapon from the side of a saddle. And I'll try and give you an idea of how this works. What you do is you have this lever right here on the trigger guard, and you press the lever and it rolls the breech out of the way. And if you can look down in there, you can see that this is where, try to do this without dropping my camera, this is where the cartridge sits. So we take this, it fits in here just like that, and when it's loaded it seals up right inside the barrel. Pretty neat design. This one happens to be a 5th model. The way you can tell the 5th model is that there's this screw right here, and it follows this, it has a groove or a guide that follows the screw so that it closes correctly. See, all the other models before this one had trouble in the field being closed in the heat of battle, because you would accidentally jam it while trying to close it quickly. But The screw has makes the breech follow the guide, and makes it pretty trouble-free. There's so much to talk about on this weapon, but what I want to show is that this is a shooter. This weapon is operational. It's one of the very few that is. Nobody makes a reproduction of the Burnside Carbine, at least not yet. They do make reproduction parts, such as the hammer and some of the other parts. You can get them from S&S Firearms or Lodgewood, or some people even make their own. Parts that are not made right now are the lock plate, which this one here you can see has two little holes. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. That somebody drilled many years ago, and unfortunately this was the only one that I could find at the time, and I had to go with that. I brought it to my gunsmith, and he was able to make it work. But since that time, I actually have found another one. As you can see, this one would be better off. It doesn't have those two little holes drilled in it. See, on a weapon this old, sometimes you got to go with what you can find. And I finally did find it, and I actually found the hardest part to find for Burnside Carbine, which is the mainspring. And I've read somewhere that these mainsprings are as rare as hen's teeth, and I would agree, because it took me at least 7 or 8 years to find this one. Inside here there is a reproduction Sharps mainspring, which is very similar, but you have to grind down this part of the Sharp spring in order to get it to fit, and it is actually a little bit shorter than this spring, which is the original. If you can find one of these, you've done good. So that will eventually go inside here where it belongs. Okay, I want to show you guys how to make the bullets for this weapon, because you can't go down to Walmart and buy a box of shells for these guns. It doesn't work that way. You have to make your own, or you can buy the bullets from Dixie Gun Works or someone else. This is the bullet right here. It's just a lead slug. It's got a couple rings on it for wax. They're called wax rings. Goes in the barrel, lubricates the barrel. This is what I shoot, is the round ball. This one's a 267 grain ball, I think is what it was. I'll double check it and make sure. Maybe it's 167 grain, not sure. But with the case and the ball or the bullet, what I'd like to show you is how to actually make the bullet and how to load the case. And then we'll show you how to load the weapon and how to fire it. I haven't seen anything like this on YouTube for the Burnside, and I think it's about time somebody does it. These are my 2 bullet molds, and these are some other parts that I have, just spare parts. Hang on to this stuff, because every year that goes by it gets harder and harder to find. This mold right here is a Lyman mold. It's a double ball mold, so I can make 2 balls at once. This mold here is the bullet mold. Not exactly sure who the manufacturer is. It's something I picked up from Dixie Gun Works. You get to learn who the suppliers are for parts and accessories for these weapons, because there's only 2 or 3. This weapon is so rare that if you can find anybody that makes anything for this particular gun, you have no choice but to stick with them, and hopefully they keep giving you a quality product, and so far they have. So that's pretty much it for the weapon itself. I think that what we should do now is get into making some bullets, and then we'll show you how to load them. Okay.